Aloha, friends. I'm so excited to be here with my friend Leah Lamb.
Hello.
She is a friend who's a newish friend, but we've been in each other's orbits for a while. She actually went to college with my brother Ted Cheeseman, who started Happy Whale. And I've heard about her for years and years and years, followed her on social media, and I just had the opportunity to meet her this past winter in Maui when the whales were out. It was very exciting. And she's now here in Kaua'i, and I wanted to take the opportunity to interview her because she's so wise and deep, and we have a deep whale connection. So it's very special to be with you today because obviously my family with Ted and my parents, we're all revolving around whales and the ocean environment. Before we get into this fascinating interview, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on this video to help boost the algorithm so more people will see it. Mahalo. I'm so excited to talk with her today. So welcome.
Thank you. And it's such a treat. And I love that you guys are siblings who swim together and swim with whales. That's such a what an amazing family lineage you guys have of all. Not everyone in their family shares a love for nature or even the same element. And you guys all have that shared experience. It's cool. It's really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, my parents were both environmentalists, and they raised Ted and I doing whale watching trips. So it was infused in our blood.
Yeah.
So thank you for acknowledging that. So first, I want to start to know more about your story. You are an epic storyteller, and I actually don't know that much about that part of your history. I know you had a health opportunity similar to me, and maybe you can share with the audience some of your story of how you got to be where you're at.
Where do you start? I love storytelling from the very beginning. I was that kid. My parents separated when I was really young, so I would fly every, couple times a year between them. And every person that sat down on the plane next to me, God bless all of their souls, I would ask them to tell me stories. Can you imagine, like sitting down next to a kid on the plane and have them ask you to tell stories? But I did, and I've always loved stories, and they've always been a place of home for me when normal life was hard, as it was for me as a kid. And so I think I found stories at a very young age as a form of refuge. And then as I got older, I found them as a form of healing. When I had people my own age die in really tragic ways, it ended up being the place that I went to unravel and to make sense of the world. And so I kind of accidentally discovered story as a tool for healing. And then I got into the business of storytelling. I studied acting professionally and ended up in New York City, and I got to know at a very young age that world was not for me. But the writing bug, the acting bug, what was happening in that space. And I think as a very young person, I could feel that when we come into space and we share stories, if it's just you or me, or if it's all of us in a big theater, or watching a play or a movie, we go on a journey together. It's one of the few places that we do get to be fully together in a shared experience. And I could feel that energy would happen in that space. And I got really curious about how could we harness that energy? Like, why does it have to end just because the performance ends and we open the door? We just built something together. So, fast forward many years of that, I ended up working with Al Gore at his television network, and I hosted the Green Channel because I really thought that would be the place where I would have the most influence. They say people want power, influence. And for me, I really understood that I wanted to be able to influence our world in terms of how we take care of it, how we project it. And I thought that how we share news and information could be the way that we do that.
No, it wasn't that way.
It was not that way. Turns out story is the being that can really help us shift our consciousness. It's not information, it's story. It's actually understanding how someone else sees the world that helps us see the world differently. And so then I just became super devoted to what is story, what is storytelling. And if I'm really honest, I think I can tell you and all the amazing people that hang out with you, I got to be exposed to some amazing storytellers like Michael Mead, like Martin Shaw and Carolyn Casey, and of course, Teresa Piccola Estes, and they were all in my field of reference. But my truest teachers of what storytelling truly is were the trees.
Oh, okay.
I spent a lot
Love
of
that.
time in the woods writing. But then, if I'm really honest, now that I'm with you and we do have this little shared adoration, it's really the whales that woke me up to what I've come to know as sacred storytelling, which I make that distinction because I think a lot of times now we talk about story as it's something that we use in marketing. Entrepreneurs use it to sell their business concept. Hollywood uses it to make money, and they call that all story. And all of those are designed to take the listener and make them into a consumer.
Yeah.
And there's something else out there that came along that we were given as humans, as our birthright, which was stories, because we're all storytellers. We are all creators. And when we wake up to how powerful we are as conscious creators and that we're creating the world by through the stories that we tell, all of a sudden we become responsible for what kinds of stories we carry, for the stories that we heal, for the stories that we can transform, for the stories that we tell. And that is when we start to come into the world of sacred storytelling. When I speak in service to life, it really influences what kinds of stories I tell. That was a whale of a tale of talking about how I came to story.
I love
But
it though. Yeah.
that's about.
I mean, storytelling is such a tribal thing too. If you think back, that's storytelling, dance, art, music. It goes
Very
beginning
beginning.
of human evolution, and so it's a great way to connect people
Yeah.
in a very rootsy way. It's so healing.
It's so healing. I mean, you can say, right, the origins are in origin stories, creation stories, which were the stories of, it's like they were the operating manual for Earth. We're in Hawaii. Our stories are still very alive in terms of understanding Pele is, she's alive. She's a demigod. She's a deity. She's making her voice heard loud and proud right now as she's sharing the power of what she is into the world. But then you and I know, as people of, what did you call it? Health opportunities?
Yes, health opportunity.
I love that, health opportunities. That how we tell the story determines on how we live the story. And you and I share something
Love that.
in common, which I love. I love that you're a thriver.
Cancer thriver.
Yeah. Because I remember someone once told me, I had thyroid cancer, and afterwards, when I was on the other side of it, people said, "Oh, come do the survivor race," and I had this like allergic reaction, and
Totally.
and for me, it was words are so powerful, and I was like, why are you going to permanently cast me in the role of someone who, to me, it felt like it was living in the energy of victim. And I was like, no, thank you. Just help me be a healthy human being and let's go run a 5K, which I would never run anyways. But anyway.
I love that. Do you want to share a little bit about your health opportunity and how that switched your path?
Oh, yeah. I mean, did it ever? I mean, gosh, there I was, early 20s, trying to figure out life. And I love the 20s because it's that time in life when you get to like, what are my gifts? What are my skills? What are my talents? What do I got, to give? I knew that I had this storytelling thing. I knew I had this writing thing. I didn't know how to make a living doing that. And I also knew that I had this penchant for healing and for teaching, and I was working with youth at risk and doing a lot of that work. And I had a dream, and my dream was to go to Yale and to study playwriting. That's just really what I wanted to do. And I was dating a man who said, "You can't do that. You can't do that. You will pigeonhole yourself into a career where you will make no money." And that was my greatest fear. So he spoke my greatest fear out loud, and I listened.
Right.
And I think it's really important to take these because we get to look back and we're like, ooh, when we're at those critical crossroads, who inside of me was making the decisions. And it was the person that was running from fear.
Mm.
And so I got a master's in social work because that was the safe thing to do. And I've since then learned if you run away from fear, it's very primal. It runs after you.
It chases you.
It will
Like a
chase you
monster
down.
in your dream. Yep.
And so I got a great education. It was a wonderful degree to get, actually. And I was like just about to graduate, and I was invited to interview at this Catholic private girls' school. It was like a very, very ritzy school in Virginia. And it was basically being given to me. They're like, we'd love for you to have this job. Just come and do the preliminary of interviewing for it as a guidance counselor. And I remember being in the interview and thinking, if I take this job, it's going to kill me. And at that moment, I
Wow.
put my hand on my neck, and I felt this huge swelling.
Mm.
And I stopped the interview and I said, I'm so sorry. I actually have to go to the doctor right now. And I went to an acupuncturist, and she was like, I think you've got cancer.
Wow.
And I was like, you're
You're
crazy.
in your early 20s.
I was in
Or-
my late 20s.
Oh, you were late
Yeah.
20s. Okay.
Yeah, at that point, I was like, you're crazy. But it scared me enough so that I was like, okay, I will go get every test in the world. And it just so happened that that graduate program that I went to was attached to the university that had discovered the unique kind of very fast and aggressive thyroid cancer that I had.
Mm.
And so it's kind of a weird story. It was like right place, right time, hard to explain it all. And it was growing so fast they thought they were going to have to cut across. They did have to cut across my larynx, and they thought I was going to lose my voice. So I
So
went.
metaphorical.
Yeah. So I went into that surgery so afraid, so afraid. And really, it was an incredible time because I did everything I could at that time, which was I was in graduate school. I knew how to research. And so I researched everything. And I wrote my surgeon this 2-page single space letter talking about every single place that he had decided to make the most aggressive choice in his treatment of me. And that since I was going to be the one living the rest of my life without a thyroid, I wanted to know if he was doing this based on hospital policy or on his, choice making. He actually called me because I was training to be an advocate, right? I had that training. I think so many people, when we go into that situation, we're trained, oh, doctors know best. And I had just come out of this graduate degree where I was trained that we are advocates, and we're trained how to do that. So I had advocating for myself in a way that I never would have had I not had that training. But I was really lucky. I had a really wonderful surgeon. He brought me.
He listened to you.
He listened to me, and he respected me. And when I came out of that surgery, I mean, I went in crying, mind you. I was so afraid.
Of course.
And I came out laughing.
Oh,
I came out cracking jokes. And I think that
obviously you still had your voice because you still have your voice now.
I have my voice.
Thank goodness.
But to me, it was the largest awakening because up to that point in my life, I had really mastered the role of victim.
Mm-hmm.
And I played it. And I knew the script, and I used it to get attention. It was my way of knowing how to get attention. When I was all of a sudden forced to contend with this situation where they'll name you forever in the role of victim,
Yeah.
this part of my soul came on board, and she was like, oh, hell no, I'm not going down that road. And so rather than crying when they were giving me the diagnosis, I don't even, I mean, a weird coping mechanism. I started laughing. I started cracking jokes. It was like, oh, you just tell these weird things to all the pretty girls. Like I was just, and all and that became my job in some way. Like rather than crumble and fall and feel bad for myself because that could have been where I went.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, I'm going to get strong. I'm going to use my skills. I'm going to research. I'm going to learn. I'm going to talk to my doctors. I'm going to make them look me in the eye, and we're going to do this together. I'm going to be a partner. And
you advocated for yourself. You stood up for yourself,
totally.
which you really need to do in the medical system.
You really need to do. And remember, they're humans too, and they wear this outfit.
Right.
They wear a uniform, which can kind of give them this idea of archetypal elevation, but they're humans and they're learning too, and we're the experts of our body, which I love learning about what you're doing, your healing journey, and like so inspiring. It taught me the responsibility of voice.
And then that shifted your life after you had that empowering circumstance to go down a path that was in alignment with yourself.
Yes. Oh, it sure did. It sure did. I ended up not becoming a therapist or a guidance counselor, any of that. And I really went into how do we work with stories and the arts and utilize it for social change. So it really was this amazing collaboration between, social work as a systems thinking approach to life and arts in terms of being able to have the technology of personal transformation and weaving those two things together. So now I do something called sacred story priestessing.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, it's so powerful. And thank you for sharing all that. It's lovely to hear more of your journey. And then you mentioned too about how the whales helped influence you too. I'm just curious how that played in way back then, if you were aware of that whale consciousness back then. Because I heard you. Oh, okay. That was later.
That was, so after that, we'll call that my wake up call.
Got it.
And I say that's kind of when my soul came on board. It was like, I'm here, I want to play. Can I live a life too here rather than you just follow your fear, or run away from your fear in the human dimension? My soul was like, I came to play. After I healed from that experience, it took years, to come back and figure it all out. And nobody really knows how to treat thyroid. They're discovering more and more and more how much they don't know.
Right.
I started getting this calling, and I had a great life in Virginia. I ended up with a great job with the best boss in the world. Was letting me do this, utilizing arts for social change and community organizing. Beautiful home, friends. Like I had everything that I think anyone should want, And yet there was this like pulse. There was something that just wouldn't leave me alone. And now I call that a calling, when we can hear something. And, just the other day I was like, how did a Jewish girl from landlocked Vermont end up like hanging out with whales as a lifeline? I don't even that's such an amazing mystery to me.
It is quite a jump.
It's quite a jump.
You're one side of the United States, now you're on the far other side.
So far away. Bless our modern world. So I ended up moving to California really because I could feel something. Something was so loud, just calling me, that got me to go all the way to California. And I wanted to follow this piece of working with the world and being part of the sustainability movement and being part of the healing. And it was also a very different time in the world when we really thought we'd be able to turn the ship.
Right.
I think now we're at a slightly different moment. But at that point, we were like, maybe we can turn the ship around.
Yeah.
And so in that moment, I was still kind of stressed out and freaked out because I didn't know what I was going to do for work. I was doing anything I could to pay rent and waitressing. I was doing anything, and so I then had an opportunity to be taking care of a friend's homestead. And I sat down in a desperate moment. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to make this thing called life work. And in that moment of knowing how valuable life is and knowing how much I wanted to be part of it. And I laid that prayer down where I just was like, thank you so much. I love being here. I want to play a great big game in this plan. I want to be part of the healing. I want to bring my gifts. And please, God, help me make money while I do this. It's like all part of it. But really, I wanted to be part of the healing of our planet. And I think a lot of us have come here for this time in the world. I really do believe it's a weird time in the world. There's more of us here than ever before. And I'm part of that belief system that like we came here for this moment. And so I laid down that prayer and it got instantly answered. And I heard this voice and it said, nothing. Nothing. So I was like, well, that's not me. Because I thought I knew everything. It was like, nothing.
You know nothing. Got it.
Like, you're in training take long walks, take long baths, listen. I've never gotten instructions. Like, I never had answers, like prayers answered that quickly where I really heard a response that was not my ego talking. And so I thought, okay, well, listen, I had this weird window of 10 days. I thought I was going to come out with a business plan. Instead, I listened and I listened and I listened and I got really frustrated because I didn't hear anything. And then on the ninth day, I was walking through the trees, through the woods, and I heard whales singing.
Oh, wow.
And I had met whales before. I felt connected to them. But it was kind of, they were always out there. It wasn't like on the front line of my thinking. And I heard whales singing and I ran back to my computer. I knew as a creative, like when a story comes, I could feel a story coming. And I thought I was going to write a pretty little poem. And nope, I wrote straight into the sunrise of the next day, the first 14 chapters of what's now almost a 3-book series.
Amazing.
Called The Whale Dreamer.
It just came through.
It came through.
Powerful.
So that's why I say the whales. I knew about storytelling. You know, I knew about stories. I knew about writing. I know about like sacred storytelling until that story came into my being, and I had to learn how to tell it.
Got it. And so what did you do with that after that happened? Because that's a huge download of something that was so different than your normal trajectory. And I know that was a while ago. So
it was a while ago.
How did that shift your path?
Well, I still went back to like Berkeley and had to pay rent, so it's like, thanks for the download, universe, like tell that one to my landlord. And so I kept doing, jobs, and I was working, doing social impact campaigns for documentaries. And then I got hired by Current TV and worked for them for 3 years. And so then there was no writing, until like the last 6 weeks. Or 6 months of when I was working there, because I could see the writing on the wall. When you work in corporate world for long enough, you know when they're getting ready to close down your department. And I had been the comeback kid where I'd gotten laid off and rehired by other departments 3 times. No one had done that. And so when I saw the third one coming around, I was like, I'm ready to be done with this world. And I could feel the Whale Dreamer book saying, it's my time now, it's my turn.
Okay.
And so after they did eliminate my entire department, I was like, okay, I'm unemployed. I took everything that I owned, I put it in storage. I super simplified my life. I went back to that land where I had first caught the story and wrote a big chunk of the first part. And then I came to Kaua'i.
Oh, okay.
And I continued writing it. And right one street over.
Right. And that was a while ago, right?
It was a really long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. So that was like 2011.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's so fascinating.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Such full circle. Yeah.
So just to clarify this has happened here in Kaua'i on a property very close to here. Maybe like 5 minutes away as the crow flies. There's no crows here. And now she's back all these years later to finish this book.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to clarify that.
Yeah. That's a big one.
Synchronicities.
Yes. I love it. Sometimes it's, I think so much of the lesson has been really learning about how do we listen for our calling? How do we take physical action? How do we bring the magic to the mundane? And then how do we get our butts in the chair and complete?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's quite a process. It's such a process of balancing the magic with the mundane, because we are magical creatures, but yet we exist in this world. Like you said, we have to pay rent. So.
And taxes.
And taxes. And she's created this whale dreaming council with the inspiration with the whale work. And I've been a part of this since January. She brings people from all over the world for these Zoom calls, and there's many different elements to it. And it's fascinating because there's tribal elders there's people from New Zealand, from Alaska, Hawaii, and it's such a brilliant offering. And my brother, Ted Cheeseman, was on it recently. So would you speak a little bit about that? Because I think it's such a beautiful creation you are
Oh,
manifesting?
it is inspired and it's coming straight from the whales. I hate to sound like a broken record where some of the biggest things I've created have come out of those most challenging moments. But I think I was in one of those challenging moments where I was living in Topanga, and for whatever reason, this book would not finish there.
Mm.
It's other work came alive there. The School for Sacred Storytelling came alive there, and now hindsight 2020, of course, when you're in the energetic field of the record keepers, the whales, they would have a lot to teach about storytelling. So at first I was really frustrated because I was like, I lost years to creating a school for sacred storytelling and learning how to do it, and how dare I not finish the book in that time? And then there's this other part of me where like, no, 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 your timing is so much bigger than that.
It was all meant to be.
Right. My favorite line in the book is when Morgan, who's a big blue whale, she says, "You humans, you think you can be on time if it's as if it's something you can step on and make it stand still." She's like, "We whales were in time."
That's brilliant.
It comes straight from Morgan.
I want to learn from Morgan the whale.
Yes, you do.
I want to read about this
I
whale.
want you to read about it. We're going to start really soon. So I was in Topanga, and honestly, I was feeling a lot of pressure because I was like, oh my God, I feel this responsibility to get the story out. I was given a story to share, and now I have to do the human work of doing it and getting it out, and it's not done. And I was feeling a lot of pressure, and I went and sat in front of my altar, and the altar talked back, and I heard, "Chip chop, get the Whale Dreaming Council done now." And I was like, well, that's when the book is done. Because the whole time I always knew that the book was a catalyst to help people who want to learn, want to be part of being guardians of earth and taking care of water and whales. That my prayer is that it is the impetus that can put them onto a pathway of doing that. And that before that, I had created campaigns for documentary films that would help people engage in the issues that they've been concerned about because they watched the film. Gotcha. So I always knew that we'd have an engagement campaign, and we'd actually created it all. It's so big what we created before the book was done. But this one was said, no, don't even worry about that. Just get the Whale Dreaming Council done. And I was like, oh, what's that? And in the listening, I heard, it's really about bringing together this alchemy of people, of bringing our indigenous elders and our elders who remember the stories of whale as family, of kin, and hold the secret stories. And there's so many secret stories that I don't know they'll ever be shared publicly. Mm-hmm. But the more I have my ear closer to those spaces and can listen, that they're there. And the more that we remember them, the more that we remember our lineage and our connection. And it felt like having those stories is really important. And then the scientists, and bringing the scientists into relationship with that. And then also the artists, people who are creators and inspiring and feeding our souls. And then everyone who loves mermaids and water and whales, and all of us who want to become guardians. Yeah. And there was something about that alchemy of people coming together into a council, like what we can do together. It's pod mentality. It's whale mind.
Right.
And so that's the Whale Dreaming Council.
We'll make sure that we put the information here, so if you want to check it out, you can. Mm-hmm. What do you feel like whales are here to help humanity with? Because obviously you're very connected to that, place.
When I'm in their presence, I feel at peace, and I feel in love. And
peace and love.
Peace. I mean, it sounds like a freaking song, right? But you've been in the water with them. It doesn't make any sense to be that relaxed and happy around like something that's like huge and big and wild and can do whatever, and like they can kill with their sounds, with their resonance. They can like take one little flipper and that's that for you. And yet when their presence, I feel so peaceful. I feel so loved. When I'm in the water, when I'm out of the water, I just feel them beaming us with so much love. Like, can we even receive that much love?
It's like a higher level of consciousness that they hold that we humans sometimes can connect with, but need more of.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Yeah. not all whales want to hang out with people, but like the ones that do, I feel are very generous with us.
Yes, they are. Very patient.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd think that humankind almost wiped out the whole whale population, or a vast majority of it, and now they're very peaceful for the most part.
And that they remember. I mean, that's what I think about in Maui. It's like this might be our third generation of whales. That's right. So they're the story carriers. They're the record keepers.
Right.
We tell the stories on land. They tell the stories in the water. Their resonance, we know, calms the coral. It calms the nervous system of the ocean. Like I get to see a singer, a humpback singer, he puts his head towards the earth, his tail towards the sky, and he boom, over and over and over again, the same song. And you're like, that dude's at work.
Yeah, so powerful.
Doing something.
You can feel it in your body when you're in the water with them.
Yeah.
So healing.
It's so good.
And scientifically, too, we need the whales for a healthy ocean. Like their poop helps create oxygen for us to breathe.
Absolutely.
So it's really the full chain.
It's huge.
Well, thank you so much for carrying this message and speaking for the whales and having the courage to do so. Thank you for listening to this calling, because a lot of people hear it, but they don't necessarily follow it. So quite admirable.
Oh, thank you. I think that we've got to surround ourselves by good people and people who inspire us and people who are willing and courageous in their own lives. And those people encourage us to be willing and courageous in our own lives. I know you hang out with those people, and it's like I like those kind of people, and I think that I really attribute so much of me getting to follow my truth, surrounding myself with other people who are following their truth. And it's I think if there's anything that the whales really want us to, what I'm learning, because I keep asking myself, but when I get in really tough situations, if I can pause just a minute and be like, okay, Leah, whale mind, go into whale mind, I will almost immediately get more expansive in how I think about things. I'll often become way more peaceful. I'll be way more inclusive. I'll be way more patient. It's a different way of operating. And I'm still very much human with 2 legs, but I feel like it's one of my practices.
It's a good thing to remember.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that.
And I think like we connect to whales, but some people they're connected to giraffes, or they connect to alligators, or they connect to cats, and we each have our allies. And the more that we can really call on the power of our allies, more fun life can be.
Yeah, the natural world gives so much. So I know you're in the process of writing some books, and I would love to hear more about it if you feel like sharing.
Sure. Hey, coming to your yurt for a writing retreat. If you guys need to do a writing retreat, this is powerful land to write from. So I'm getting to finish 2 things that are close to my heart on here. One of them is a little book of change. And it's funny when we're creative, I think like the channel gets opened, and then all different kinds of things can come around. And so I was working on the Whale Dreaming Council, but then this book just was like, me, I have to come in right now. I'll just be a little book, And I love this book. It's really here to help people metabolize and integrate the changes happening in the world. And it has to do with changing homes and changing relationships and just being alive to change on life. So that's about to come out very, very soon, which I'm super excited about. And then The Whale Dreamer, I'm in love with this book, and it's really about this young girl who's called by the whales to surface the dreams of our future. And that's all I'm going to say about it. But I will say that I'm reading it 1 chapter a week to the Whale Dreaming Council. We have live gatherings.
When is that starting?
That's going to start a couple weeks.
Okay. This is the end of June 2026, just a reference.
Yeah.
So I know with your Whale Dreaming Council, there's many different elements of it. And do you want to speak to that in a moment? Because you're offering the reading Just
yeah.
if people are interested in joining, like, could you just share a little bit more,
Yeah.
just to clarify it?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. You're the first to hear, but we actually
Ooh.
just decided yesterday that we're changing the title to the
Okay.
Whale Council to make it more expansive for people. And then we're going to have the Dreaming Council inside of it. So now we have once a week, we've got a professional dream guide coming in and really help people attune to their dreams and connecting in the ethereal ways. We have our monthly councils, which is sort of like all hands on deck. It's a place where we get to learn, and we often bring in an Indigenous elder like Ted, a scientist who really educates us about something, and it furthers and deepens our own conversation about the state of Wales in a community building, wonderful way. I mean, we had a sweetness that happened yesterday where we were all there together, and someone was like, "Great, I love being around other people. I get to speak Whale." So it's a cool group. We do, for those who want to receive the book, there's a gathering for that as well.
Okay.
And then eventually, for those who really want to take action, we have that emerging as portals that people can work with too.
Because you have a Telegram group too, I know.
We do have a Telegram group.
Okay.
Yep.
Great. So if you're interested, you can tap into all these different resources and see wonderful things she's doing and hear her book too. Yep. Wonderful. I can't wait to read it and hear it.
Yay! It's gonna be fun.
Yay. Well, is there any last parting words you'd like to share from your heart or from the whales? Or both?
In this time in life when there's so much conflict and so much strife, and every time we go to social media, and I'm always struck by the latest news that's very disruptive and disturbing. And I think for those of us who are sensitive and tuned in and empathetic, it's kind of hard to know how to feel when we can feel so much.
Oh, yes.
And if there's anything that I constantly get from being around whales and the nature, is how important it is to bring our love and gratitude to every single day as a practice, and that the more disruption there is in the world, the more we need to bring joy, the more we need to bring all the goodness. So I think it sounds corny, but follow your bliss.
More love, more joy.
Yeah.
Choose love over fear.
Yeah, I can't wait to get my t-shirt.
It's my mermaid logo. Choose love over fear. Yeah, you're right. Feeding that source rather than feeding on the negativity feed.
Yeah.
Where can you turn it around?
Yeah.
That's what we all really need now. And that'll inspire more of that.
Exactly. Let's make that contagious. Contagious joy. Thank you very much.
And I think that the whales do teach us that. That's what I feel from them too.
Yeah.
It's like, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. If I'm ever down, one of my favorite things to do is watch those videos of when people see whales jumping out of the water, and it's like it's contagious squeals of relief,
right?
And you can't control it when you're in the moment. It's just like.
How awesome is that, folks? Epic. Oh my goodness, what a treat.
So we all get to have that epic joy.
And swimming with them, that's just the next level.
Oh.
As you know. Wonderful. Well, how can people find you? We'll put the info in here, but website, social media.
Website, School for Sacred Storytelling. Whale Dreamer is thewhaledreamer.com. That's where you find that. And I work with people one-on-one, and I teach classes as well. So that's all fun.
You work with people one-on-one doing storytelling or coaching?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do something called Sacred Storytelling Priestessing. And it's therapeutic use of creative writing, or for people who are really trying to complete something, but it has a lot of emotional depth, and they want to get in there and really do the deep work. It's very, very fun.
Wow. Priestess of the deep work. And then social media too. Instagram, Facebook.
Leah Lamb, the Whale Dreamer.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, mahalo from the bottom of my heart for taking time to talk and share this wisdom and love with me and the world. And just so grateful for you listening to the gifts and
sharing them. So it's an honor to chat with you, my dear.
Honor to chat with you. Thank you for this beautiful sanctuary that you've created. It's really both online and the water for people. It's been so fun to get to see you flow through life while I've been here, and it's really delightful. Thank you so much for making the time for a beautiful conversation.
Yeah. Mahalo. I appreciate that. Can I give you a hug?
Yes.
Well, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you. I'm sending you all lots of love and aloha. Bye.